Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon, whatever time you're listening in, wherever you're listening from. Shout out to my Spotify listenership, Apple and Google Podcasts, and YouTube if you're watching in. Thanks for giving me a reason to get dressed. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here. Be present and recognize that it's now, right now. Whether your right now is working, flying, running, driving, be thankful we're alive, baby. Failure can be frightening. However, as Winston Churchill reminds us, success is all about going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. This is I Will Not Lose podcast, where we set out to prove everything is learned from failure, and we must persevere and recognize it as one step closer to success. I'm your host, Tony Ortiz. Let's jump right in. What's up, man? Welcome back.
Yeah. Welcome back for the first time.
Yeah. We got Erik Rodriguez of the Dope Individuals podcast, author. Got a whole bunch going on. We're going to chop it up and get into what you've been up to, what your plans are. We're coming to the end of this year, so.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's see. Let's start with the podcast. Tell a little bit of people about your show.
So I run a podcast called Dope Individuals Only. Where I only invite dope individuals who I deem dope. You know what I mean? It's predicated around people sharing their testimony, and trying to help, essentially. You know what I mean? Everybody got a powerful story. Everybody's been through something. Everybody's going through something, healing from something, and those stories should be told. Everybody has something to offer, and everybody could take something away from someone's experience. So ultimately, I provide a platform so people can tell their story, share their expertise, share their pain, share their struggles. And hopefully, not only does it help the person be able to share their experience, but hopefully the people listening have something beneficial to take away that they could use in their own lives to better themselves or their friends or their family, something of that sort. So, yeah, man, I love to help people in any way, shape, or form, but I also love to talk to people and learn about people because it's real easy to think like nobody's really going through the same struggles. Nobody understands until you talk to someone and you're like, holy shit, people are actually going through stuff too.
Yeah.
So, but I actually really love it. Talking to people has always been something that came really easy in my life. I moved around a lot as a kid. Pretty much lived in every corner of Allentown. So meeting new people, building relationships, maintaining those relationships over years has been something that came relatively easy, just because I had so much practice at it. So a couple years ago, I was writing like, what's some of these things I want to do over the next couple years? And start a podcast was one of them. And it was just solely so I can do those things. I can talk to people. I can meet new people, build new connections, and help people somewhere along the way. So it feels good to be able to hit all the bases in one thing, because a lot of time it don't work out that way.
Do you ever have somebody see one of your shows and then hit you up and say, connect me with that person? Like, have you ever made any connections through the show?
I have never had nobody hit me up and be like, yo, I want you to connect me with this person. But I've orchestrated things so where multiple guests that came onto the show could connect with each other. You know what I mean? I remember one of the first episodes I did, it was with Derek Jones, and shortly after that episode, I put, it was myself, my boy Victor, who I met Derek from, and then a friend of mine named Richard, who also came onto the show, and we all went bowling. And it was a really, really dope experience. Started group chat, chopping it up. They ended up like going to each other's churches, So things like that make me happy to see that not only like did I get to meet someone new in Derek and get to learn about him and meet him and hear his testimony, but I also took somebody I met from years ago out of the blue in Richard, and then I connected all these people together. And it felt really good to see the relationship cultivate itself without me. You know what I mean? It was really cool to see like, I wasn't just like throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks. I actually seen something in these people, all these different people from different walks of life, and they actually get along with each other and they actually can feed off of each other and, and things like that. So that was really cool. Another thing I hope to do at some point is I want to start like a barbecue, like a yearly summer barbecue. So for the guests for the year, get all the, like, it'll be like the Dope Individuals, like barbecue kind of thing. And I invite all the guests out for the year. That was something I was hoping to do this year, but my summer was crazy. My summer was nuts. Yeah. So, I didn't get to do it, but that is something that I'm hoping to do for next year, is put together. I mean, we're up to 45 episodes now, so it's going to be a lot of people.
And most of them are guest episodes that you have then, right?
Yeah, yeah. Every once in a while I do solo ones, when it's something like I just want to speak about, something on my heart, something that's important to me. But yeah, most of them are guests, other than myself and my family, like my kids and my wife.
It's going to be a huge barbecue if you have year one and year two.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm probably going to have to do it at like a nice park, a big park. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And, but I think it'll be great because the people that have been on the show still continue to listen to the show and things like that. So these people are somewhat familiar with each other. Even if like they didn't finish the episodes in full, they know, they recognize these people. I've had that happen too, where they're out in public and they're like, yo, I ran into the other dude who was on the show. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. You know, I hope y'all connected with each other, you know, because y'all both up there. Y'all out there for a reason. I hope y'all said something to each other, kind of thing.
For real.
You just never know.
You could have performances too. I know you had a couple of musicians on your on your show. Yeah, you could perform.
I could. I was just thinking about the last time I performed. It was at what was it? Steel Stacks. I did a show with like Movement Moves Media, and Mike threw me on the lineup. And yeah, I forgot what it felt like to perform after so long. And I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, damn, man, I should probably perform again. So maybe.
I'll have to show you my Facebook memories just came up 11 years ago when I was performing at Pigpen. Oh. Shout out to Turning Down Harvard. We had a live band playing our music. We rehearsed.
That's fire.
Yeah, they took the hip hop and threw like an alternative on it. Oh, it was dope.
I love live instrumentation. Just seeing people be able to like rapping is one thing, especially because like for rap, it's a little bit different. You can put the music on, you got words that are playing in the background, but like to play a guitar and like maybe perform at the same, like sing at the same time or do the drums, like that shit's hard, bro. Not hard as in like it's hard for them, but just like it's dope. It's dope. Yeah, it's real dope.
Yeah, for sure.
That's something I wish I always learned, was how to play an instrument, because it's just cool as fuck. I don't know how to say it.
If you could play any instrument, what would you pick?
The violin.
You'd play the violin?
Violin.
Okay.
Violin would be my first choice, and it would be the piano.
Yeah.
You know, there's always got a piano, you know what I mean? It's one of the most popular instruments in the world. But I've just always loved the violin. Like the sounds it makes it's nothing like it. So
yeah, it'd be cool to learn to control that.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know, but we're young. You could pick up a violin.
Maybe. Right now my focus is trying to learn a new language, which is Spanish. And I'm grinding that out right now. So it's like trying to learn too many things at one time, that should give me anxiety.
I took a break from Spanish for a little bit. I've been focusing on one thing at a time, which has been jiu-jitsu. So I've been training every week.
I was going to ask, how is that? How's that going?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I came off a shoulder injury. So I wasn't even doing the dangerous shit. I wasn't even rolling with somebody trying to kill me. I was just like doing drills, and I rolled over my shoulder in a weird way. I had calcific tendonitis, so I don't know if it was from the injury or if it was beforehand I just aggravated something or what, but
did it make you feel old?
Well, it actually, being injured made me feel young. Again. It reminded me of like high school wrestling and stuff like that.
That's funny. That's the opposite reaction of everybody.
When you're old, you feel like you don't feel like your body's alive. When I'm injured for some reason,
it's like that pain receptor is like, yeah, your boy's still kicking kind of thing.
It was terrible. I couldn't roll for months. I still went to training, but I couldn't really go live or do anything nuts like that. But shout out to Exalt Jiu Jitsu. Shout out to Evan Robinson. Runs a dope program. I'm gonna get you over there one weekend.
I want to try some type of fighting form. I've always thought like kickboxing. Me and my son play fight in the house all the time, and I practice my kicks on him. I mean, they're light, but I practice my kicks on my son. I was just like, this would be so cool to just like know how to use my feet in a fight. Like,
yeah, you learn how to use your whole body in kickboxing. Yeah. For sure.
Elbows, fucking everything, bro. I was like, this would be cool as shit, but it's hard to come around the time right now, like focusing on the things that I want to do and the things that I have to do. Like sometimes like I try not to have this mindset, like that scarcity mindset where it's like, oh, there's not enough time in the day. I try never to think like that, because the time I have is very valuable as long as I'm just not doing a bunch of bullshit with it. But sometimes it does really feel like there's just not enough time in the day. Like I get up every day at 5:45, and sometimes it still feels that way. You know,
Yeah.
I'm beating the sun up on most days, and it's just like, God damn, the minutes are ticking away as I'm doing things. So,
Yeah. You got to take a step back every now and then. Like you got to live in that serenity, live in that like the now moment, and just, all right, everything's all right. There's always going to be something to worry about. There's always going to be something in the future, you know? Always.
There's a lot of time where my life feels like that, where it's like, I got to be concerned with this. I got to be concerned with that. Like today, we had to go see 2 houses this morning. I got to build a shed, which I was doing right before I came here. So I got to build this 7x7 shed all like by myself, which is it's pretty fucking complicated. I've never built a shed before. I've done dressers and shit like that, but never no shed. Later on today, I got to go grab my nieces. So I'm going to have like, I got 3 kids of my own. I'm going to have 2 more. My wife's going. So it's just going to be me and 5 kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to like anticipate that. Leaving right after this to go right back to work and go pick up kids and to do like all morning I'm sitting here just like anxious as hell, just like I don't know how I'm gonna make it through today. I don't know.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to get on the show and share your experience. I was excited
to come here, bro.
Yeah, no, for real. For those of you listening or even watching in, we recorded an episode and there were some technical difficulties, which I ended up going on air ranting about. But I wanted to put together, we had a great conversation. It was good to get to know you, and I wanted to do something again right, you know. So
walking in here today was a total different feel from the first time. It felt like I was walking in my friend's house, like my guy's house. The first time I was like, I don't necessarily know what to expect, but you know what I mean? You're like, yo, the door's open, come downstairs. I was like, oh, your boy, yeah, you know.
But no, I took this morning and even late last night. So I was working on a project which had a deadline of Friday. We're recording on a Friday now. So I got that done and approved last night. And I just took today. I worked the election on Tuesday.
You was doing the polls?
I'm a judge of elections for Allentown 13-4. So did that. That was all day. That was from like 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. Yeah. But
and they had you out there after the polls closed.
Well, you have to take the votes down. Yeah. So after the polls closed at 8, we were out of there by 8:30.
But you gotta go pick up like ballots and stuff.
You got to take the ballots. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I have all my paperwork lined up. I get out of there. I've been doing it for years now. Like I just wait for the machines to turn off, sign a couple of things, pack everything up. But you got to take it down and deliver the memory stick, like give the votes. It's really important. Yeah. So you go down, there's a couple people waiting. They have a nice thing, but till you actually get home, get ready to go to bed, it was like 10, you know?
And you said you was up at like 4. That's
it was a long day. So I just needed today. I take the time to put my life back in order, clean up, make sure laundry's done, just make sure like I can't fly by the seat of my pants.
That feels good too. Like after you have like a rough week or rough night, whatever, and then you get to kind of organize some of the things that like are always going to be in your life. That feels good. It makes your life not feel as cluttered. You know, so.
Exactly. And then I feed that back into being able to create. So I'll probably do a little bit, see what's up with my son this weekend.
I'm jealous of you right now.
Why is that?
Because I'm so backed up on laundry.
Oh, man.
Yo, people have this thing about me from time to time, like especially those like really close to me. They always like, oh, you think you're perfect kind of thing like that. It's because like I kind of have that mentality where it's like I don't let people see me sweat. You know what I mean? But it also gives them like this false image of who I am, like as if I don't have any problems. And like it's driving me nuts that like we're behind on like a week of laundry. Because for 5 people, that's a decent amount. That's like it's like 2.5 baskets worth of clothes. So you gotta fold it, you gotta wash it, you gotta fold it, you gotta put it away. I'm sitting there like, oh no, just like all the anxiety.
No, don't worry. We have laundry. We got plenty of stuff. But I keep a list of personal and a list of work stuff because as an entrepreneur, it blends in. Sometimes on the weekends you'll do something. So. You know, but I try to keep jiu-jitsu for the weekends, family for the weekends, Just do a little bit of stuff like before everybody wakes up. So I still get up early on the weekends.
You sound like no disrespect. Like my wife. My wife is very like boom, 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 boom. And me, I am kind of like one of those, like I'll fly at the seat of your pants or something like that. I'm one of those people, especially because the way that she is, sometimes like she would like might miss something every once in a while. And then I'm the person that like picks up the slack for it. So like a lot of my days like, oh, this is going on over here. I got to go help here. Boom. I got to come over here. Got to help there. So like that's essentially like my life, like the role, especially because of all the things I do outside of our business. You know what I mean? I do the podcast and freaking
write books.
Where
did you get time to write a book?
I was doing it last summer. Last summer is when I started the book that's actually about to come out. It's Happening For You.
Plug it. It's Happening For You?
Yeah, It's Happening For You. It's Happening For You, 27 Years of Lessons. That's the full title. And it's a collection of 10 life experiences that I've experienced myself, and detailed experience and what I learned from those things. And that shit, some of the chapters was hard to write. I would say maybe the last 3 chapters was very hard to write. Talking about something that, you know, I had just now told my mom maybe at the beginning of the summer. I also freaking disclose, like, you know, like my finding God essentially, for like a really long time. I used to walk around saying I'm borderline atheist. I used to walk around and say that shit with pride, but getting in like touch with God and things like that, and finding some faith in myself, you know, essentially, to my tumultuous like fucking childhood, like of all the moving around and, you know, stuff like that. So it felt really good to be able to share my story with somebody. Shit, even if one person buys the book, I'll be happy, honestly, because I've never done anything like that. So just writing it was an accomplishment for me, you know. So I was really, really grateful to be able to do that. And it's funny because I actually wrote that one really, really fast. Like it was something that it spilled out of me. Okay. Because for years I didn't tell anybody anything. That goes back to where people have this image of me. I really didn't disclose anything. There's like things, my mother read the book. It's not out yet. So my mother read it at the beginning of the summer, and there was plenty of things that she just had no clue, even while I was living under her roof. And it's, I think it's less of a detriment to her, but more of a thing to me, where it's like, I just didn't feel comfortable saying certain things to people, having certain conversations, not being brave enough to address certain things. And then me finally getting to a space in my life where it's like, okay, I have the courage now, you know, and I owe a lot of that to my wife, where there were so many things that I was carrying myself that I had no ambition to tell her as well. Yeah. And, you know, eventually she got through to me. It was like, yo, you married me. Like, we're locked in here. You got to let me help you carry some of this stuff. And everything changed. We were in Boston last year or 2 years ago? Somewhere like that. Last year or the year before. But we were out in Boston for my son's football tournament. And I got high. I went outside like to just like have a smoke break by myself. And everybody went to sleep. It's like 10 o'clock. We got to be up like 7 o'clock the next morning. And I just like kept hearing this thing like, tonight, you have to tell her. You have to tell her. You have to tell her. Oh, and bro, man. I woke her up out of her sleep. I'm out here crying. I was like, oh, like for me, it was extremely emotional, but it felt like with every tear that dropped, I was losing 10 pounds of weight. Yeah. You know, just my heart just felt so like light for like the first time in years. And then ever since that day, she basically let me know that it's okay to have feelings about things, and it's okay not to be okay. Because for the longest, I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. I'm fine.
Yeah, you know? It's easy to mask.
It's really easy to mask. Yeah. So after I get to this part with her, and I'm finally comfortable enough to share my life with her, I took the training wheels off. Everybody, like, after I realized my wife wasn't gonna judge me, I didn't give a fuck what anybody else had to say about me. Because this is the person I got to go to sleep with. This is the person I raise children with. This is the person I build my life with. If she can love me through everything that I thought made me unlovable, I could care less if anybody doesn't like me or what I have to say or my story or anything like that. It means nothing. The one person that I care about what she thinks of me, she still loves me. And for me, it was like I could take the handcuffs off myself now. And that's where the book came from.
Sounds like the podcast would have come from after that too, because you can't care what people think about you. To do this,
yeah,
like,
and the podcast is part of that. Like, I have people that are convicted felons where they spent damn near as much time inside as they have outside, especially like their most impressionable years, like their end of their teen years, their early 20s, their mid, you know what I mean? These are important years. These are foundational years of building you who you're going to be maybe for the next 10 to 20, you know, in some cases, and they spend them behind bars. So like, I know some people could be like, oh, what do you have to offer me? You've been sitting in a prison cell for 10 years. What can you really offer me about life? But there's a story within there of redemption, of making mistakes, of not truly thinking about your decisions consciously before you make them. There's a whole lot to learn from somebody who's been sitting behind bars and had nothing but time to think about their choices and their behaviors. So even in that, you know, that takes a lot, because I could easily be like, oh, you know, you don't really fit the mold of what I'm trying to present to people. But like I said in the beginning, I think everybody has a story that someone can take something away from. And, you know, so yeah, the book and the podcast came after I took the handcuffs off of myself. So yeah, I think it's a product of it.
I didn't even realize that. If I think about it, man, I had a crazy year before starting the podcast too. And I had that compelling feeling like I wanted to do something. I had a notepad and everything. I was like, how am I going to change the world? Like, start list number 1, list number 2. But
I like how you said that. Like, how am I going to change the world? Because I think people have this view, even myself earlier in my earlier years, I'm saying that like I'm fucking 40, but in my earlier years, like my teen years, like my impression of I got to change the world meant like you had to affect every single person in the world. But you can affect one person and it just be the right person, and they learn that from you, and that's you changing the world. You know what I mean? You just never know who you affect and how they affect people outside of just you two. So I really like the way you frame that. How am I going to change the world? That's fire. That's fire.
I think that was the title on the page and everything. But no, it's just all one step at a time. And the I Will Not Lose reminds me that every week. And I knew that when I started it. It was part of, I even discussed it with my therapist. I was like, should I start a podcast? You know, what should I do? But I think there's power in talking. I think there's healing in speaking. So
agree.
Making a platform for people to be able to come on and share things. And especially the guests. I mean, none of my guests so far have really cared much about the listeners. They're just like, I want to get on and tell my story. It's like
yeah, I want to come up here and I want to talk. I spend a little bit of time with you. You know what I mean? Telling my part. So I realized that too when I have guests come up and I'll be like, have you ever heard the show? And they were like, no. I'm like, well, I recommend that you listen to like at least one episode so you can get a feel for how I do things and the type of feel you get from the show. And then they're just like, okay. And then like we'll talk before the show and I'll be like, did you ever get a chance to listen? Like, no, but I'm ready though. And I'm like, okay, fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Let's do it. You just never know, man. You just never know, like, what your presence brings to people. And I've realized that a lot more over the years. Shoot, I got a great example of that. 2 weeks ago, we were in Washington, D.C. It was, again, for my son's football tournaments. And I come out the hotel. Valet just brings the car, so I'm loading up the bag. Well, I'm getting ready to load up the bags into the car, and there's this dude walking down the street with this big ass book bag on him, and I see him. I'm like, I was gonna say something to him, but I was like, you know, I'll let him go about his business. And then I looked up again, and he was kind of looking at me. So I was like, how you doing? He was like, thank you for speaking to me. And I'm like, oh, no problem. You know what I mean? Just, have good morning kind of thing. He's like, no, seriously, thank you for speaking to me. I was like, no problem, bro. You know, have a good day. And I started loading up the bags, but then I stopped loading the bags and I watch him cross the street and I just watch him walk. And I watched him walk for like a whole block. And every person he passed, it didn't look like anybody said anything to him. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, even just saying hello, I didn't realize like the impact of hearing a hello. Like, we ain't in no store, you know, I don't have to speak to you. I'm not a cash register, like working at the cash register or something.
Yeah.
Like, but that shit meant something to him. For something that was so small and frivolous and something I wasn't even going to do meant the world to this dude. At least that was the impression I got. And I was like, you know, it made me get on Instagram and share like a piece of the story and basically saying like, treat everybody with kindness, treat everybody with love, because you just never know how you're going to impact somebody. I could have been in a rush. I could have cut him off and we could have gotten into a fist fight for all I know. Just me like going about my business and not caring about anybody else walking on the street that day. So I like to remind other people as well as myself, like, you just never know the impact. You never know how you can positively or negatively improve somebody's day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I do like a lot of reading and one of the things, like, I used to have a really tough time with patience, being patient. I think it's part of it because the era that I grew up in, everything just gets faster and faster. So whenever I'm looking to accomplish something, that's kind of the results I'm looking for, is faster. Like, this shouldn't be taking this long, especially when I'm putting in work. This shouldn't take this long. I should already be there. And I remember listening to like one spiritualist video, and he gave an example of sitting in traffic and getting cut off. And he's like, you know, typically you're going to start giving a horn and maybe getting frustrated with your steering wheel or yelling in your car. He's like, you don't know why that person just cut you off. They could be on a rush because they just got a phone call that their mother's dying in the hospital. And you think just because you're trying to get to the store down the block that, you know, they're just being an asshole because they cut you off. But they might have some real shit going on. And I was like, wow. And I sat with that for a minute. And I was like, I don't beat my horn at people no more.
Nah,
No,
I would never. I was never a horn beeper at people, but
every once in a while I would. I'd be like, you know what, you getting this fucking horn, dude. But now I don't beat my horn at people. When they cut me off, I just be like, whatever, man. Maybe you got somewhere more important to be. And that's it, you know.
No, I think about that. I can't remember which book it was, but the author was talking about, like, when I'm in the grocery store, I'm just kind of like thinking about what I want to make. I do a lot of my planning while I'm in the grocery store. Like, you would hate to bump into me, you know what I mean? But like, I'm taking my time, but at the same time, like, who knows if that other person is in between jobs and just has to pick something up. So if they're going and they're rushing past you while you're just thinking you're taking too damn long in the pasta aisle, like, do you want angel hair or do you want, you know what I mean? But
it's like, bro, it's pasta, pick a pasta. Yeah,
no, you never know if people are on the verge of, I mean, oh man, I don't even like, I don't know what to do, and I don't like sharing stuff I did. Like, I don't even like, not saying you can't post it on Instagram as a message to be kind or anything like that, but man, I've seen people like just break down, and it's like, it's over something stupid. You know, there was way more. Like, to me, it might be something stupid.
Yeah, but
that might have just been number 10 after number 9. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they might have just pulled themselves together after number 9, and they were like, I got this. Yeah. And then that printer broke.
And now I'm it's like, he's fucking snapping like a pencil in summer school.
Breaking stuff. But, oh, man, no.
You just never know what people are going through. Before the camera cut on, we talked a little bit about gratitude. I kind of think this fits right into that conversation we were having. This also allows me to be grateful for like the times where my life isn't a shit show. You know what I mean? Like, it's very easy for us to think, because we see on social media, like, the only thing you'll ever see from like my personal social media is family pictures, maybe us somewhere, you know, doing something, vacation or something like that, maybe me with my friends. You'll only see good times. But like, I have a very stressful life. You know, people will never know that unless they get an opportunity to do this. So but my life isn't always stress. You know, even if my day is stressful, there's plenty of times within that day that isn't stressful. Those couple moments, even if it's 20, 30 minutes, I get to sit on the couch before I hear my kids start to argue or some shit like that. Like, be grateful for that 30 minutes that I got to sit on my couch. You know what I mean? Like, I got to sit on my couch. There's people that don't even got a couch. There's people that don't got a house. You know what I mean? There's people that lost their kids. There's people that don't have a TV to kick their feet up and watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a whole lot to be grateful for in that 30 minutes. And it's very easy for me to go, fucking kids, they're arguing again about who's putting away this clothes in that drawer. Like, it's not that serious. But just having the gratitude, like, yo, I did get to spend 30 minutes of just peace. Just peace. And I gotta take that. I can't take it with a grain of salt. I gotta really appreciate that, because sometimes life does get stressful. Sometimes it gets loud. Sometimes it gets hectic. Sometimes it moves too fast. You know, and I think gratitude is something that everybody could benefit from. I talked to, like, I got he's not my little brother, but he's my younger brother. I call him my little brother though, because he's 21 and he fucking wet behind the ears. But there's so much in his life that he could be appreciative of, and he only sees the negative things that go on in his life. And I always say to him, like, how do you expect anything to change about your life and your reality if all you see is everything that's going wrong? You know what I mean? Like, you woke up this morning. We'll start there. Like, you woke up. Plenty of people that didn't get to wake up this morning. You're healthy. You know what I mean? Your daughter's healthy. There's plenty of people that's going to the hospital right now because their kids are fighting leukemia. You know what I mean? Like, and all you want to focus on is, did something come in the mail? Like, bro, fuck the mail. Get there when it gets there, bro. It ain't Amazon. Like, you know what I mean? And it's sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes it's a headache talking to certain people, like, when they can only see the bad about stuff. And then they be like my wife calls me Positive Paul. Because every time she comes to me, like, if she's stressing, I'm like, yo, but you're looking at it from the wrong lens. So let's try to reframe it a little bit and look at it from this lens. She's like, oh, here's Positive Paul. Here's Positive. I was like, yeah, fucking Positive Paul's in the building. Like, you know.
I said that to somebody one time. I said, I'm grateful. They're like, why? I was like, because I'm not sick. Like,
right.
You only think about being sick when you're sick.
When you're sick.
You're like, oh, this sucks. I don't like being sick. But you ever just like, man,
I could breathe.
You ever just breathe?
Yeah,
you ever just breathe and you're like, man, this is great that this works well.
Yo,
like,
I go outside and, like, sometimes, like, how today it's not cold, but it's not hot. And, like, I'll go outside in a t-shirt and I'm just sitting there and I'll just, like, look at the trees and I'll be like, yo, it's crazy. We really live in a place that is, like, perfect for us. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little too cold, we wouldn't be able to live here. Too hot, we wouldn't be able to live here. You know what I mean? Like, oxygen is a little too much oxygen in the air, we'd be fucking giants. You know what I mean? Like, it's perfect for us. And, like, I try to remember that shit. Like, every day I walk out the house, I'm like, fucking, it's glorious. Like, even if it's raining out, like, it's glorious, bro. It's glorious. I try to remember that shit because it's so easy for me to, like, be living in my head and just, like, being anxious about things because I know I got a packed day or something like that. But it's like, in this moment right here, everything's cool. Everything's cool. You know?
You go.
Yeah.
I had a couple of those this week. I had, oh man, everything up until election day, because it's something that took me out of my normal schedule. I was so taken aback. Like, I was just like, that's the end, and then after that is the start. So everything has to be done by then, and then started on Wednesday from there. But it pulled out. I'm grateful for the work that I have. I had something, I didn't even get a chance to post it yet, but I got referred to somebody for a logo. Ooh. And you got to see the testimonial that wrote me, dude. Like, they were like, this embodies it exactly. I'm not even gonna say it and mess it up, but I will.
Pat yourself on the back.
I will post it. Yeah, no, I have written down that I want to post the testimonials, because people think, like, Facebook and social, they think that's all there is, but Google's a big deal. Like, people still Google things to verify whether or not they're real. You know what I mean? So having a presence on there is way better than having, in my opinion, than having a Facebook presence.
A social
What
media,
I mean? Like, just being on social, something substantial, people could be like, oh, so that's his social. But if I look up T.O. the designer, or Tony Ortiz the designer, there's, like, something there. But
there's other resources that I can look at to make sure, like, my money's being put in a good place.
But that's what the podcast does too. Like it substantiates it. Like it looks good. People that just, even if they just see the clip, you know what I mean? I got a clip from last week's episode going nuts right now, and people are like, okay, that happened. It looks like it was, they may never check into the whole interview.
Yeah.
You know? But it's deep. If somebody, shout out to you if you found a clip and decided you were going to check out Erik Rodriguez and tune into the conversation. And shout out to Dope Individuals Only listeners. I have to put the link to our episode in the description. I went back and listened to that the other day, man. That was a great episode.
It's so crazy. I'm like 4 or 5 episodes behind. This is like where it comes to like where I'm saying like sometimes it feels like I don't have time. Cause like I love to listen to podcasts too, like at ones outside of like, I listen to like a lot of spiritual ones, a lot of spiritual podcasts. I do Spanish podcasts cause I'm learning Spanish and things like that. So I don't always have an opportunity to like listen to these things because like I'm trying to like educate myself in areas, or I'm trying to like grow in this area. And I'm like 5 episodes behind on my own podcast. I always listen to the episodes that I put out because I'm like, if I don't listen to them, why should anybody else listen to them? You know what I mean? Or go back and I'll think to myself like, okay, I don't necessarily agree with that point that I made. So maybe I shouldn't say that anymore because I don't really feel that way. And I've noticed things like that, and I critique myself of how was the energy, you know what I mean? Just trying to improve. So I'm happy to hear that you went back and listened to the episode because it's something on my to-do list. I think I got to go back. If I'm not mistaken, it's the episode before yours. Who is that? Sleepy or something? It might have been Sleepy.
Sleepy?
Lathia.
Yeah, that might have been wasn't right before me. You had someone else in between. I'm trying to think.
Shit. You had
Macville,
Will
Carrasquilla.
It was Macville. Because Will came after Macville. I've been doing a lot of the actual podcast, but like finding the time to like create the clips, like quality clips, because I could always just go in and grab a segment. Like on YouTube, I put the timestamps and stuff like that. But like I want shit that is gonna portray the true message of the podcast, because we laugh, you know, we talk, sometimes they rap, whatever. We cover a lot of bases in an hour, but like I want to encapsulate the true purpose of the show in these clips, because for the most part, that's how most people are going to find my podcast. They're going to see these 30-second to a minute clips, and then they get to gauge whether it's worth their time. So the people that do come in contact with them, I want them to come in contact with something powerful, which requires me to, you know, truly listen and everything like that. And it's just something that like I said, I'm 5 episodes behind yet. And I'm like,
well, I don't know. You got to listen to like, have your listeners share it with other people. That's something I'm going to start putting in my outro. Like, you know, the greatest share you could do is, because that's the best testimonial. Somebody says, hey, I listened to this podcast, it brings something up. I mean, it's great. You don't want to build like a flash in the pan type thing, you know? And sometimes like I have a few of yours bookmarked, but I have like I haven't watched Brilliant Idiots this week. I think they just dropped today. Rory and Maul, I can't keep up with that. They dropped that. Shout out to Rory and Maul. They drop like 2-3 times a week.
Yeah. It's not like the Joe Budden podcast where it was like on a weekly basis. I just watched the clips. Honestly, like they're funny to me, but they haven't put out anything that made me want to go watch an episode yet. I've been listening to them for years.
Their clips. I don't know.
I follow the show, so like I get to see all the material, and typically that's how I gauge it. Is like if somebody can put out something that is intriguing enough for me to watch the clip, then I'll go and check out the episode. But ever since they became Rory and Maul, I haven't went and listened to it. I don't know. Maybe it's because like the way I found them ain't the way that they are.
I don't know if they could put the stuff on the clip. Like, I don't know if the show is super clippable. Some of the stuff that they
run heavy on
what
Patreon.
They talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Patreon, I'm not tuned into their Patreon or anything like that, but I just know whenever I need to listen to a podcast, they're going to have something new and current up, and I'll be able to just throw it on and go from there. Even if I don't listen to the whole episode, I mean, I'm sure they have listeners that tear up every minute of every episode. They know their numbers. There's a reason why they're dropping that frequent. But I don't know. Did you ever think of going to bi-weekly, or you post every week?
I considered it. As of now, I do every week. I just came off of a couple weeks ago. I didn't post for about, I want to say, close to a month, and it was because I was like trying to reset my algorithm. So me and Mustafa, shout out to Mustafa.
Shout out Safa.
We came up with this plan where we was like, we're gonna get 5 episodes and we're gonna keep them all in the tuck, and then we're gonna drop them 3 days apart, and we're gonna see how that changes things. And it has changed things. I've noticed that I'm getting more listeners on Spotify. That was like the main area I've noticed. And the algorithm switched up a little bit for me as well, like via YouTube. I've noticed that I'm getting new listeners in areas I wasn't before. But we came up with this plan. So for like 3 weeks, I didn't have no episodes out. But ever since, I went back to a weekly basis kind of thing. And It feels good too. Like, it feels good. Like, this is the one time out of every week I get to do something that I truly love to do. You know, sometimes I've just got to go with the flow of life and the things that I've put in my life. And sometimes they're not always as exciting as I would like them to be, but shit got to get done. You know what I mean? I'm a man at the end of the day. I got to do certain things, but it does feel good to be like, okay, yo, on this day, typically I record on either Tuesdays or Fridays. I'm like, on one of these days out of the week, it's my time. Like, for 2 hours, it's just only what the fuck Erik wants to do. And it feels good to have that, because there was a time that I wasn't doing anything creatively. I felt miserable. I'll be honest. I felt miserable.
It's been a long time for me not doing anything creatively. Actually, my calendar just went off. I was supposed to drop that music video I showed you today. But
you didn't drop it yet?
No. Johnny was supposed to come over. J2, shout out to J2.
Shout out.
He was supposed to come over Monday. I was like, I'm old. I got to work the election. I'm going to go to bed early because I got to be up early. So we got to like get the paperwork out of the way and figure out what we're going to do. We're probably not going to promote it like we're thinking of promoting it to people we don't know and just get a more raw response.
Yeah.
Because it's not what we're known for doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I kind of like that. I like that. Just the people who know you are going to find it. They're going to see it. But like targeting a specific audience that has no clue about you guys, it'll definitely give you a different feel. Because people will let you know. Strangers love to talk shit. Strangers love it. Also, I realize not only do they love to talk shit, they love to support.
Yeah, they love to be like, all right, that looks dope and stuff. And well, I don't really care what people have to say about it because I have shown it to a few videographers, and they think it's dope. So as like, long as I'm not gonna get haha emojis from my network, then we're good. Yeah. So as I got the okay.
You took the handcuffs off yourself. You're like, fuck what you guys think.
Plus, shout out to Tug McGraw. He told me to post it. He's like, yeah, if it's done, stop working on it.
Big shout out to Tug, man. I've been a fan for a while, man. Tug, I'm talking to you, whatever camera we're on. So I'm gonna definitely reach out so we can connect. Yeah, Tony was like, man, definitely get him on your show.
I'll have to get you guys on the show for sure.
Hey,
get him on the show. I'll plug you. I'll remind me after we're done recording. I'll shoot him a message.
I bet.
And go from there.
My man's been in the game for a minute.
Yeah, for sure. I had him on iTunes.
Oh shit.
I had his album on iTunes back in I don't even think it was 2010 yet, but. That's another thing too. Through music, like you connect with people. You don't understand the amount of people that are just like, this is great music. You know what I mean?
I think now music and food are like two of the things that I realize like are universal. You show people good music, or even if it's not, I can't even say good music because music is music. It's art. At the end of the day, it's to be observed, listened to. Yeah. And then they get to judge for themselves. But music and food are two of the things that I think like connect all people, because we all got to eat and we all love music. Even if we don't dance, we all love music. So I agree. Shit, I was going to say something. I'll forget what it is. Whatever.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah. It's been a block.
To you. But yeah, so what do you have on your goals for 2024? Is it too early to start dropping those? Just continuing with Spanish.
It's funny. I'm still working on a couple of the goals. So when I wrote the first book, before I started writing the book, and I was trying to get organized of figuring out what I wanted to do, what I wanted to aim for, I came up with this I wrote my goals down on a piece of paper, and then my wife made it all nice for me and typed it up and put pictures and shit. But there was like 12 things on the list. It was like create a new stream of revenue, start a podcast, write a book, put on 10 pounds of muscle, learn Spanish. Well, it was like become fluent in Spanish to have basic conversation. So there was a couple things on that list that I made probably over 12 months ago now, that some of the things I accomplished, but some of the things that are still really important to me that I want to accomplish, I think they're going to have to continue on to 2024, especially because not only that, I'm not bored of these things yet. Like I still haven't been able to figure out how to have basic conversation in Spanish. And I would say mainly it's because of me, because I'm afraid of looking stupid. You know what I mean? I love to tell people, it's like, I'm good at everything except like when it comes to speaking Spanish in public. It's like one of the things, like, I don't know. It's just, I have this fear of speaking, but I know that in order to learn how to speak, I have to speak. So,
well, do you know what? This, I don't know if this is any solace to you at all, but you don't have to speak perfect English for somebody to understand what you're saying. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So forget accent aside, even just your word choice. Like, you can understand a incorrectly structured sentence in English and still kind of get the gist of what it is, and people will correct you. So I know that it gets to the point then where you do have to be in conversation and people can correct you. And that was when I was actively trying to learn earlier in my life. I worked with people who
spoke Spanish.
Yeah. So we could work in Spanish, and that helped with certain things, but that's not going to let me know like anything outside of how the weather, like, you know what I mean? Go and put a fork on table number 4 is not
that shit can't be applied just anywhere.
Yeah. So
some of the goals are gonna stay, solely because like they're still really important and I haven't accomplished them yet. But I do have a couple new things that are on there. I have my own flag football team. I've been doing that for about a year and some change. But I'm going to be taking a step back there because some things that are going on with my son. And I'm going to go coach freshman football at Allen. You know, I'm going to try to help. Get the next generation of football players coming into Allen. Hopefully we can change the culture. Hopefully we can get these kids like some passion to play football. And hopefully by the time they're in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, they can start winning some football games. So I'm hoping to be a part of that change. That's something that's going to be coming into the fold next summer. So yeah, that's one of my goals is to try to create a winning culture at a school without a winning culture. So that's huge for me. Finish up my second book. I started writing it, but I haven't finished it yet. I'm on chapter 16. I had scheduled for it to have 22 chapters. So I still got 6 chapters to go. So that's another thing is wrap up the second book I did. I want to do a little bit of traveling too next year. I've been saying for a couple years, ever since I got like into like spirituality, I want to freaking go to a couple places and try a couple things. Like I would love to go and live amongst monks for at least a week. 2 would be ideal for me, but live amongst monks for 2 weeks in Tibet. So that's something that's like on my next 12 months to do. So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting for real.
Oh man,
it's nerve-wracking too.
Super cool. I could see you in Tibetan monks.
I just hope they don't make me. I don't want to cut my hair.
I saw they announced a trailer for Avatar.
Yeah, and I was that shit's on my watch later list.
I was thinking of Eric. I was like, yo, that's funny. The microphone, the little advertising things must know he's coming over.
I love the Avatar, bro. I love the Avatar. That's funny that you thought of me when you seen that, because that's funny that you held on to that. Because
we were talking about it on the last episode, right?
I know.
Yeah, I listened to the episode recently.
But I didn't know how recent. But it's funny, like, that you retain that. A lot of people know, like, my wife knows I like the Avatar, but, like, I've had to tell my mom that shit 3 times, like explain the show to her, why I like it. Because recently I've been getting into cartoons, and the Avatar was one of the shows that I started with. It was that and Attack on Titan were 2 of the first cartoon shows I actually started to watch. Because in this healing process that I'm going through, like, of all the things that, like, some of the things that I covered in my book, I'm still healing from. I'm still working through on a daily basis. And I feel like because of all the moving around that I had to do as a kid and just the way, like, people are raised in the black community. I'll just say it, spade for spade. You know what I mean? I didn't have a childhood in many aspects. Like, you know, we didn't keep coloring tools in the house. We didn't play organized games as a family. I didn't watch cartoons. A lot of the time, like, we were told, like, as soon as we were done with our homework, go get the fuck out of the house, go play, go be a kid, which I'm grateful for because I learned to, like, navigate the world. But then there was also a piece of me where it's like I missed out on a lot of things as kids. So like now I be at home, like I'll smoke some weed and then I'm like, you know what, fuck that, I'm gonna go paint. I'm not playing video games tonight. And I pull out my paint stuff and then I'm over here, I'm making mountains, and it doesn't look like, if you're comparing it to like a professional artist, somebody who's been doing this, it doesn't look good. But I showed my daughter, and my daughter's like, oh my God, Dad, I love it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is good. Like, this is, you know, but she's 6, and to her, it's a work of fucking art. And like that in itself is like, maybe I shouldn't judge this against like something that fucking Basquiat made. Maybe I should just judge it for what it is, or maybe not even judge it at all and just appreciate the fact that I got to color. I got to paint.
There's famous art that's
looks like shit.
Questionable. I can't say it looks like shit. I mean, some like...
I'm not afraid to say it, but some of that shit is like, I don't even know what this is, bro. I don't know why somebody paid $12,000 for that. I wouldn't have, but art is art. So,
I mean, depends on the process, the tools. There's all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it depends on what your last one was sold for. So you could essentially... I mean, I don't know. I don't know fine art. That's a whole different ball game. Like when people get into buying and selling art, they know way more about it. If they're going to spend a car on a piece of art, then I'm sure they know what they're buying and why they're buying it. But I don't know. Some people hate this logo. I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. Everything, like it art isn't subjective. Like there is objectively good stuff. Mm-hmm. There's laws and stuff you have to follow. But for the most part, if it sparks a conversation, it belongs in the art museum.
It probably did its job.
Or I don't know. Not the museum, but
I like to criticize things. I like to criticize things, including myself. And this is something I'm working towards, like just like letting things be what they are, and then just appreciating that for that. But I'll be honest, it's tough some areas. Like I said, like I'll see some art, like I've seen some dope Basquiat pieces, and then other pieces I'm like, I don't even know why this sold for that. I wouldn't have bought it, you know. But that's just like, that's my opinion about it. And I try not to judge art like that, because I'm an artist at the end of the day. I write poetry, I write music, I write books. And I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody's be like, hey, that shit's whack. Mm-hmm. But like at the end of the day, I didn't make it for you then. It's okay. Like, but I don't know.
I like that people could change the channel.
Yeah. You know? Like it might not be your cup of tea. That's fine.
But no, when you get into, I've had people, I don't get into checking numbers a whole lot, because I'm not going to change a whole bunch of things. Like I have it to the point where I have a process. It's comfortable for me. Like, yes, I always push to expand it. I'm always growing little pieces here and there.
I was going to say, so how do you push to expand?
Well, you set goals, but the goals aren't based on
numbers
going viral off the thing that I did last week. You know what I mean? Like it's about creating new content. And the thing is when I did check the numbers, it was like up 138 or maybe it was 188%. Mm-hmm. I was up month over month. So I thought, oh, that's crazy. Maybe my last couple episodes were hitting. But when I checked, people are downloading stuff from last February. People are grabbing titles. And so I had more downloads from older stuff. So I'm like, okay, somebody went through and saw on Instagram all the stories that I posted, and they were like, I just went down a rabbit hole listening to a whole bunch of different guests. So there's people that don't need to, like, creating those reels and captions. People can catch up and say, okay, maybe they want to go back and listen to that episode. But even if they just got the highlight, like, I started getting way more intentional with my reels. I used to just throw them bitches in AI. Me too. Like, I'd be like, I'd throw the throw the link. I'd select like 3 out of the 12. And they'd be good, but it's expensive to be lazy. Yeah. Versus, and I don't want to call it lazy. Maybe it's work smarter, work harder. My man's showing up with the
gems today.
What did I say?
It's expensive to be lazy. It is, bro. It is. I know exactly what the fuck you talking about. What's that? That's two gems. I hope you clip them shits. Yeah,
there you go. That's the clip. Yeah, that's the clip. No, but going through and actually cutting the clips as I'm listening to the episode. So now my process is like, I'll take this, I'll throw everything in, I'll get it technically right so that I could watch it with the camera switching. Then as I'm listening to it, I'm going to mark it. And I'm going to be like, I like that part there. Like, I like that. I should get to the point where I got a little button here that marks the audio somehow. So I'm like, all right, clip that. But like, I get a little instant replay button.
A smoother process for it.
No, then I just go through, cut those little parts, make sure it looks good in the reel and stuff like that. I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna do some stuff for
that overlay. You got to show me how to do those overlays.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you.
You're creative as fuck, bro.
Oh man, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think it's that like. I don't know.
That's exactly what it is.
You know what it is? It's wrestling. Like you're a District 11 wrestler. You're always going to run into somebody tougher than you. You know what I mean? Like even if you're a state champ, there's somebody in the world or the Olympic. You know what I mean? Like there's somebody in a village somewhere.
Oh, but I'm just comparing it to the things that I've seen from you, bro. You're talented as fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I get stuck in that impression.
Compliment, Tony. Damn, my man said. Yeah, I do that same thing where I just be like, yeah, man.
You got me. You call me out on it.
Yeah, you just try to be like humble. And somebody told me stop being fucking humble so much, and I was like, I don't know how else to be any other way. And then they're like, take the compliment. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'll try.
Well, I'll take it as I'm dope. But there's always going to be doper. I'll erase that caveat out of it. You heard, this is the clip. Tony Ortiz, the designer. I'm dope. I don't even know if anybody says that anymore.
Shit, I do. I'm like, yo, that's dope as fuck, bro.
Yeah, dope.
I tell my wife that. Yeah, I tell my wife that. I'm like, I'm dope, yo. She's like, why you like that? Because I'm fucking dope. That's why. And she's like, I'm doing her hating wife shit. I'm like, kick rocks, yo. Get out the way while I watch this TV.
No, my wife tells me how much she loves me, how much she supports and stuff, and then she'll tell me like I can't dress, and I'll be like, the best thing that happened with me in terms of my part in our relationship is I just don't really care as much. She's like, I don't really like that shirt that you picked out. I'm like, this is dope. It fits.
I'm wearing it, not you.
Yeah, it's just, it works from there. You know, you could dress me when we go out.
I think you need a balance of that in a relationship. It's like, I got to be able to like joke with each other like friends do. You know what I mean? Because me and my boys, we talk shit all day. Like whenever we together for football games and shit like that, like we roast each other. We fuck around. You know what I mean? That's how we exchange like our love for each other. But like at home, typically like the way you would think ideally is, oh, you guys actually love each other. You know, you cuddle, you kiss, you do all those things, but like it can't just be that. You got to find other ways to bond. You got to dance, you got to joke, you got to play. Me and my wife, we love to wrestle. Like we wrestle with each other. Like we went on vacation by ourselves earlier this year, I believe in like July or in June for my birthday. We went down to South Carolina and we took a big mug out there, like a 24-ounce mug. We filled that shit with fucking wine and we went out there. We went out to the beach, put our blankets down, and we were like, I just started pushing her and shit. And she's like, oh, you want to fight? I'm like, yeah, I want to fight. And we're out there fucking full-blown wrestling, like in stalemates. We got a reset and everything, and people are watching us, but it was probably the best time I had, just us two, and I don't even know like to recent memory. Like it felt good. It felt like we were kids again. You know what I mean? And it's shit like that has to go on to keep your relationship fresh and enjoyable. You know what I mean? Now I know everybody don't wrestle. I know you probably not wrestling with your wife, but me and my wife love that shit. There's
a bit of a size difference between me and my wife. We're not in the same weight class.
She's bigger than I am. She weighs more than she weighs like maybe like a 40.
I'm gonna cut that out. We're not putting your wife's weight out there.
My wife's sexy. My wife's sexy. For all y'all out there, go ahead, go look her up.
We're not doing that, man.
I appreciate it.
No, we'll cut that out. We got to get you to Exalt Jiu Jitsu.
I definitely.
Especially if you over here wrestling your wife and feeling alive. No, for real.
I do the wrestling, so I be teaching her stuff, and she gets it. She gets it somewhat, so it's fun.
it's fun to learn all the like, oh shit, that could get me killed. Like bellying out. That's the thing I had to unlearn quick.
Oh, you guys don't belly out in jiu-jitsu?
No.
It's practically, that's giving someone your back in a fight. Okay, that makes sense. And wrestling, that's what they, they get to your stomach, get to your feet kind of thing.
And granted, you're probably not going against somebody that's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. So like,
you just never know though.
So, you don't want to get in the process of giving your back up to anybody. So just untrain it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm a lot more comfortable on my back, but I don't know. Come to the gym. That's what it's for. Bring your wife to the gym too.
I'm pretty sure she would like to try it. She was interested in trying kickboxing, so I'm sure rolling around on some mats for a while would be fun for her as well. You got to send us an invite, bro. Any day that you're going over there, just send me a text like, hey, man, I'm about to head over there. Let me, if you're not occupied, you know what I'm saying? Come through. We'll definitely pop out.
I'll let you know off air because we'll have somebody showing up to the gym. We were just looking at that, man. Back in like the earlier days of jiu-jitsu, like they would storm dojos. They'd be like,
to what?
They'd be like, oh, you studying this and that? Well, let's fight.
Let's fight. Let's see your skills against our
have no rules. He was sending me videos of no rules bouts. Like, it's like, oh my God,
that's like, it's like organized street fighting in a way. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, the whole, my coach will tell you the best, but the whole story was they wanted to bring jiu-jitsu across the world. So there was a ton of Gracies, like a ton of sons. And if you were a son, you were in a gi by the time you were crawling around.
What are these different like levels you can get to in jiu-jitsu?
What?
When like sons, a gi?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, but you got to provide a little context.
You know the orange shit that Goku wears?
Yeah.
It's a gi. It's like for training, like you're wearing a collar right now. You're not going to be in a singlet when you go and wrestle against somebody. So most like sport jiu-jitsu, you're going to have no gi, where in the tournaments you're wearing like rash guards. It's closer to like wrestling and stuff like that.
So stuff people can't get a hold of kind of thing.
But when you're training with a gi, you learn to prevent different types of chokes. There's things where people can grab onto your clothes and throw you. So,
I was going to say, is that what I was going to ask? What's the purpose of wearing baggier clothing if you don't compete in that?
Well, they have gi competitions too. They have competitions where people compete in it, and it's all like, I'm not going to get into it or have people showing up to my gym, but some people are like sport to death. Like some people are like, they learn this and they learn really flashy stuff. Some people, I'm more along the lines of like self-defense. Like what is going to prevent me from letting somebody break my teeth, poke my eyes out? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Nobody wants to end up on World Star.
Yeah.
I just see some horrible stuff.
If I have to pull a stalemate and just wait there till the cops come and there's nobody jumping in or something like that, or I have to restrain someone, it's like, maybe that's the way to go. Maybe it's not always about the spinning, flying elbow arm lock.
Would you ever try to make a citizen's arrest?
Make a citizen's arrest?
Yeah.
No, like I'm going to avoid confrontation at all costs, but you learn those quick. There's ways to control people. Like even if you're trained, if somebody has you in this position, it's really fucking hard to get out of or move. So, I mean, but then again, you got people on drugs, so you're still going for a ride. Like you got to work to control somebody. Yeah, you got to work to control somebody. But I'm telling you, man, you should definitely try it out. I'll talk to.
What does it do for your mental? Does it have any, like I'm saying you personally, does it provide something for your mental space?
You remember in wrestling when you used to size everybody up, when you just kind of like, you don't do it on purpose, but you're like, man, I don't know, his balance seems too good for me to shoot a shot in. Like
I got some big ass fucking long legs, like shit.
I started doing a lot of that. I'm just like, man, so would I go arm triangle or would I try to? No, like there's a lot of it adds a lot to confidence. It adds a lot to just getting out and stretching and moving around. And people, I haven't been testing, but I think I lost like 10 pounds doing it. People are like, hey, you look healthy, you look good, what are you doing? So I'm not getting younger. I'm not getting younger. It's got to be time.
Does it feel like, I mean, I know you just said the shoulder injury, does it feel like it keeps you more limber than like maybe more like other active things you used to do?
Oh yeah, because you're using your legs and your feet. So like one drill we'll do, like we'll lay on our back and you just kind of do windmills with your feet to flex your hips out. Yeah. Like you're never flexing your hips out normally or stretching your hips, but it just helps with certain things. If I'm trying to like, you got to like keep your weight down while moving if you're trying to move to an arm bar or something. Yeah. So like having your foot like Indian style or weird.
Crooked, it looks contorted.
Like, yeah. So
that's what's up.
It's super cool stuff.
I asked about the mental because like you see people that like hit the gym a lot and they work out and they're just like, you know, if I don't go to the gym, like I feel like out of balance mentally. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked.
There is a physiological, like I just feel good after I go, especially after rolling live. Oh, you just feel super alive. And then like I'm driving home and stuff and music sounds better. Like, so that's probably endorphins. It's probably, but it's similar to, that's just exercise in general. I don't know that jiu-jitsu does more of it, but going live where somebody's, even if you're going against somebody with a higher belt that's way more experienced than you, they're not going to go and try to annihilate you. Like, think about you. If you're teaching like a younger wrestler, like you're going to give them pressure and show them and then like do your stuff slower. Like, so it's just,
it's really like teacher and student kind of thing. So,
and let me show you this. Like when you get into the mentality of, you're not trying to use energy. You're trying to go whichever way the fight goes. So I might wait here, and then if you move this arm, now that opens up my next move from here. But I'm not going to move your arm in order to force it to do that. It's just if you swing on me and you lift your arm back, this is what I'm going to do. So you wait for things to open up.
It sounds like it's more reactive than it is aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Way more reactive. So that lets me think about things like that in my absolute life. I'm like, okay, this doesn't need to be forced just yet. This doesn't need to happen like just
flow.
Yet. Like
everything is flow.
Yeah. I can take that time, that little bit of space and relax for a little bit because
I've heard of people doing like Tai Chi. I know Tai Chi is a little bit different, but like people doing like Tai Chi or I've heard of jiu-jitsu, like being good forms to like not only like move your body but just get in touch with the body. Like you said, a lot of people don't even get up and move their hips, or like people don't typically stretch. They get up, they start their day and they're out the door kind of thing. But how many times do we actually sit there and like feel our body, like truly feel it and move different parts with intention and things like that? That's why I like to ask those type of things because honestly, I'm in a space where it's like, I'm down to try it, but I'm in a space where it's like, if it doesn't also have like some mental, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but like if it's not going to help the mental space either, like if it's just a physical thing, I'm probably not interested, because I have something like that's physical, but also helps the mental, like football, things like that. But I've heard of like a lot of things, like I said, Tai Chi, jiu-jitsu, just being able to create the mental space of where things are more clear, you know, things like that. Just getting in touch with yourself. And you
can compare it a lot to wrestling. Compare it a lot to,
I love wrestling. So if you say that, I might fall in love.
Yeah. No, when you know, like when you're just,
is the room hot like wrestling?
No.
Okay, good.
No, he has an AC in it. Normally we're like, turn that AC off. It's too cold.
Oh man, listen, for anybody who's never been in a wrestling room, they kept it at 100, 103, 105. Yeah. Ours was like 103, I believe it was. In there just dripping sweat from standing, like, let alone having to grapple with another person your exact same size. Like, it's nuts. Sometimes, I mean, we had to wrestle up 2 weight classes or something like that. Like, he used to do that. So many practices, I find myself wrestling whoever's at 145 instead of whoever's at 138 or 126. And I'm like, this dude got like 13 pounds on me, you know what I mean? Yeah. And if he's skilled like I'm skilled, 13 pounds is a lot in wrestling. But, you know, it builds that mental toughness and, you know, challenges you. So
I wrestled up most of my high school career. I only had a few matches. I weighed like 163 and I wrestled 171.
That's a weird weight.
So I would
160.
Well, that's what it was. It was 160. So I'd have to drop 3 pounds if I was going to go 160. But
or you go up.
I just felt better, like natural. Like I wasn't cutting a ton of weight.
Yeah.
When I was trying to get down to 60, I think I weighed like 174. So I was dropping almost 2 weight classes. but
Shit.
Yeah, I found like, I don't know, 163, and I learned at like 45, 52. So I was used to that faster paced wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You take that up to like 171, you could
don't
feel
move.
the
Yeah.
difference. You could feel the difference.
They don't
in
move
how-
as well.
Yeah, it's like a lot of circling, but I couldn't lock up. That I had to wrestle my own game. Like, people were a lot stronger. So
That's because they're coming from 180, 190.
Yeah, they're dropping down. Yeah.
I remember my coach the one time, because our 126, he was losing a decent amount of his matches. So my coach is like, hey, why don't you try to cut your weight from 132 to 126 and then go wrestle down? You could really help us there as well. And Lewis was a pretty good wrestler, but I don't know, he just had this string where he wasn't winning. And I tried so hard to cut this weight. I got down to 127, and I didn't eat for 2 days. I did a water fast. Like, it was nuts. I just didn't have anything to lose. And I was like, fuck this shit. I'm not doing this shit. I was like, I'll wrestle at 132. He's just gonna have to win some matches, bro. Like, I don't know. we'll just keep losing team matches because we can't win in the lower weights. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But that's like, cutting weight is no joke, especially when you don't have much. I was like, in high school, I was like 6% body fat.
That's about where I was, 6.3.
Yeah, I was like 6%.
It's funny how
body.
you remember stuff like that.
That's because I was amazed when they did like the tests and everything. I was amazed. I was like, only 6%.
You
like,
can't do that no more.
What?
I'm pretty sure they changed that. You can't wrestle that low body fat. Or that might be just at
like at the minimum.
At the minimum, but they test your body fat and let you know how low you can drop now.
Because it's unhealthy to be that small. Yeah. And I was like, I was shredded. Like my legs were fucking just diesel. Like, I was cut and everything like that. And I'm like, I'm trying to lose 6 pounds of nothing. I was like, bro, I'm gonna disappear.
All you can do is dehydrate.
Yeah, I'm gonna disappear, bro. I turned sideways, like. So, I don't know. I do miss some of those things. Not only because like the camaraderie, but like the challenge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's very few things in life like that you sign up for that a lot of people don't challenge themselves. And even to like in my life, sometimes like I do things and I stick with it maybe a little bit longer than I should because it's comfortable. You know what I mean? And but every day you show up to somewhere like jiu-jitsu or you show up to wrestling, it's a challenge. You know you're gonna go in there, you're gonna work for whatever you're trying to accomplish that day. And having that competition like on a daily basis, sometimes I miss that shit because it builds something in you. You know, I don't know. It's hard to find that like as an adult.
You can't find it as an adult, and once that like competitive edge is missing, I find you start getting like over aggressive in things that doesn't like you mean like
you don't need
like
to.
fucking video games.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, get that kid in Call of Duty that's screaming, that's capping out the mic. Get him on the wrestling mat. He'll come back and he'll play that game and he'll just be chilling.
Yeah.
Like, you start, you know what I mean? Like your company announces a bake off and you're like, oh, I'm going to do Spider-Man swinging. And it's like
the bake off. But yeah, you find things to be like overly excited about that may not even, you know, like you said, like it might transition to something that isn't as positive. So you got to find like something to get that energy out. And ultimately that's what it is. It's like pent up energy that needs to be used.
I wanted to give you a chance to shout out your social, talk about the book. Let's see, you got the podcast. Where can they find that?
Okay. So for the podcast, you guys can follow Dope Individuals Pod on Instagram and TikTok. I'm posting videos on a daily basis, a lot of motivational shit up there. I also do a lot of on those platforms where I highlight other podcasts, local artists and things like that. So you not only get to come on here, hear some dope ass conversations with dope ass individuals, but you're also getting an opportunity to see like there's a lot of people that you have never heard of making some great pieces of art. You know what I mean? So make sure you guys follow me there. Dope Individuals Pod. On YouTube, it's Dope Individuals Podcast. Actually, Dope Individuals Only Podcast. You can find all the videos. All the content that you see on the social platforms, you'll also see as the shorts. But you have the full length video episodes there. So you can listen to it and watch as well. I'm very active in the comments, so please drop your opinions. If you disagree with some, if you agree with some, if you just got something that you want to tell the people underneath in the comment section, drop it. I love when people give me feedback or talk about the subject that we were speaking on in that episode. So please, please let me know what you think, what you feel. I want to hear it. Even if I don't agree with it, I want to hear it. I want people. That's what this whole thing is about. It's about starting conversations and sharing with each other. And then also on the Spotify, I'm now just started doing a thing where, did you know you can put videos, like your videos on the Spotify?
I knew, but I haven't looked into how to do it yet.
I did it for the first time. It, like the same way you would upload it, because I upload my podcast through Spotify podcast, and then I use that as like my central station to upload it. But yeah, they allow you to do the videos now, and when you upload the videos, it automatically takes the audio and puts it right on there. So if it's the same audio file that you're using for the video, then you only got to do one and you get to have both, so they can listen to it or they can watch it via Spotify. So for all you guys who use Spotify, you can watch the videos there and you can listen to the episodes there. So make sure you check it out. I drop episodes on a weekly basis, and there's more dope shit, more dope individuals on the way, man, for real. And as far as my book, as of now, I got it scheduled for January 29th, which is my mother's birthday. I got it scheduled for January 29th. You'll be able to find it everywhere. The main place you'll be able to find it is going to be on Amazon. You can place the order there. However, I'm working on setting up an online store so they can buy it direct to consumer kind of thing, because Amazon is robbing people. So no lie, if I charge $15 for the book, I leave with $6 in profit. So
that's wild.
That's wild, especially for something
do a limited run first and then put it on Amazon after everyone bought it already.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna look into that,
because they got the network, man.
Yeah, they got the network. They got the 50%. Platform. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy for my personal story and triumphs and ups and downs. You know what I mean? It's not about money for me, but I think $6 for every 15 is nuts. So. But yeah, that's where you'll be able to find it. You'll also be able to find it on audiobook. And I'm actually working on the audiobook where I read the book to you. So there's a lot of stories in the book where I actually tell stories from like my own memory. So I get an opportunity to really put the energy into it and read it to you guys how it was done in that moment in time. So I think that's going to be pretty cool too. I've never narrated a book, but I'm going to have mad fun with that shit. So make sure you guys check that out. It's, the book is titled It's Happening For You, 27 Years of Lessons. There's going to be a little QR code on the back of the book if you guys buy it, and you'll be able to follow me on everything that I got going on, for the podcast, for the book. And, for me as a person, just trying to find a way to make an impact in this world while I'm here. So, yeah, man, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you giving me the platform. I appreciate
Erik Rodriguez.
Yeah, man, Erik Rodriguez. Don't forget the name. I'm going to be everywhere, bro.
All right. Thank you for listening.
All right, peace.
Thank you for listening to another episode of I Will Not Lose Podcast. To support the show, visit iwillnotlosepodcast.com. You can subscribe to your favorite podcast player. Share the episode link, leave a comment. Your contribution is greatly appreciated. And if you're listening in and can't see the QR code for donation, go to tothedesigner.com/links, and there's instructions to donate up there. Thanks so much.